Glen Innes 7 community. I'm joined here by Lindsay Woodland, who's still our acting general manager until Bernard's back next week. So we just finished our council meeting earlier today at around 10:15, I think it was. So a shorter agenda today, but some really important items to still share with you, so you know what's going on at council. So first, within the tracking report was around the New South Wales benefit sharing guidelines, and I had the privilege of attending the Regional Australia Institute Conference Regions Rising in Canberra last week, and for those that missed the media release out on that, I was invited to go on to the panel to discuss net zero and the energy transition. This was a really great advocacy opportunity, not just for Glen Innes, but also other LGAs in the renewable energy zone. And really what I was advocating for during that opportunity was to have more regional empowerment and decision making and transparency and trust in how the renewable energy zone projects and how they benefit our communities and how they're managed. We're seeing quite a few issues in Walker with a transmission line being moved at the moment, as an example. I also urged government to cut the red tape and enable councils and communities to make their own decisions on where contributions are spent. What we don't want is for Energy Co to get in the way with several grant funding buckets that we have to waste time and energy on applying for. So we will continue to advocate for that. And I also called for the creation of a RES data dashboard that overlays all renewable projects, including transmission lines for those outside of Glen Innes LGA still in the RES, and also renewable projects, so that we can really understand the cumulative impacts that are coming down the line for our community and other communities around housing, healthcare, and of course workforce, because we need to unlock the opportunities there. So I'll hand over to Lindsay to talk about a few things on the tracking report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Another update on the SEATA feedstock trial. You may recall that Council has invested in that trial, and we're now nearing the end of negotiating the service level agreement, which should be completed by the end of October, with a commencement date scheduled for January 26 for the trial to commence. So that's good news, that's progressing well, and we're really happy with the progress of that particular project. Secondly, the Capital Works Stage 1 of the CCTV rollout in the CBD has now been completed. You may already be aware of that. Stage 2 is the next stage, of course, and the scoping for that stage has now commenced and is well underway. We are working with the police. We're wanting to have a live feed into the police station itself here in Glen Innes, and so we're working on an MOU with the local police. Another
important report that went up today was the Councillor Psychosocial Safety and Wellbeing framework. So this was out of a Mayoral Minute a few months ago. This is sort of a foundational stage to the framework, and this was endorsed by Council today with some discussion and debate around its role and the intent of this framework. But for clarity, the purpose really of the framework is to prevent harm and minimise psychosocial hazards, also to promote well-being and for councillors and community and the interaction between the two, and also to comply with legislation and existing codes like the Code of Conduct. So we now have this foundational framework that provides the clarity for council staff, for councillors, including the mayor, and the community on how to prevent harm, intervene early, and to support recovery. So this policy is fundamentally about risk management and proactive prevention. So while this is new territory as a policy, globally there is an increasing recognition of the psychosocial risks faced by elected officials, So Council resolved to adopt the policy, as I said, but also to advocate and seek more peer review to improve it going forward. And I think this is really important given it's quite an innovative policy certainly for New South Wales. So Council will be releasing some more information about this innovative policy development on Council website and social media soon. And then we've got some pretty good news on our investment report and a few other items. Lindsay?
Sure. The investments report this month again reflects a really good improvement in our financial position at Council. We now have 28 million in cash and investments, about 5 million in cash and the remainder invested in very safe and secure long-term deposits. Also the unrestricted cash position, good news again on that this month, is positive 4.9 million, which is a great position to be. That's exactly where we want to be with our unrestricted cash. And so again, just demonstrates the improving financial position at Council.
Yes, thank you, and we'll come to the financial statement soon as well. But the next item, which actually you can get involved in as a community through the Have You Say portal, is the Draft Economic Development Strategy and the Draft Destination Management Plan. So those are the strategic plans that the staff will execute from 2026 to 2030. So the Economic Development Strategy, the EDS, sets a really clear target of 10,000 population by 2035. Now, this has been a target that's been there before. It's not a new target, but what we're trying to do here is ensure that it becomes a strategic milestone. And the reason we need to aim for 10,000 population is that really helps unlock greater government funding and investment. It will help improve or sustain and improve services available throughout our community. And we'll obviously aim to strengthen our local economy, diversify that local economy and build a skilled workforce. But it also is an enabler to enhance our regional influence and boost community resilience. So the Destination Management Plan, that's all about the place we live and managing all of those assets and endowments. The high-level aspiring theme in this is to work towards becoming a UNESCO Global Geopark, and that's leveraging off what we've already achieved in this space, which is to become the third pilot georegion in Australia. So we're going to up the ante on this and really align all of our tourism projects to the unified georegion framework. That enables us to share the rich history of our land, our waterways, our skies, our animals, our flora and fauna, essentially. But it also gives us a value add, a point of difference that we can actually try and attract more visitors to our community, which again comes back to the economic development strategy of diversifying our local economy. So both of these strategies importantly embrace wellbeing economy principles. So what that means is not just focusing on growth, but also on shared prosperity and community wealth through local ownership and opportunities, and to improve overall livability and quality of life. So they reflect a place-based approach, which is where we were before. It builds on that approach, and we really want your feedback on these documents, so they will be going up online. So please have your say. Councillors will also be having their say during that period because we're on a bit of a tight timescale with that one, given it's a grant-funded project. Other approvals to quickly note is Council approved the reclassification of council-owned land and approved the boundary realignment for 146 to 148 Church Street. Now, on to our financial statements, and I'll let Lindsay introduce this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, very positive news, I think, on the financial statements, and acknowledgement of the staff who put a lot of work into these statements to get them through. But the financial statements, on the surface, it may look like a decline in our deficit, which is 5.2 million. The fact is that the main contributing factor to that was the timing of the financial assistance grants, which last year we were paid 80% early. This year we're paid 50% early while we assumed 80%, which means basically a $2 million difference. between what we expected and what we received this financial year. Of course, the remaining $2 million will be paid in the current financial year, which is the 25-26 financial year. So we don't miss out on the money. It's just the timing of where that money fell. If we did receive that money, our deficit would be 3.2 million, which is definitely in line with our most recent quarterly business review expectations, and also about 600,000 less than what was initially assumed in the budget. So it's a good outcome, and it reflects the ongoing improvement in financial performance. Also, at 30th of June 25, the unrestricted cash position was much better, even though it was still negative 200,000. It was much better than where we expected it to be at the end of the financial year. So that's a great result. And if we had received the financial assistance grants, we'd be up a positive 1.8 million. So all round, I think a very good result, and it augurs well as we move forward with a continual improvement approach on our finances.
Yes, and so that'll now go off to the external auditors to be reviewed. But I mean, just to reiterate, from where we were last year, there's been enormous work and improvements done. The systems that we had to pull together the last financial statements gave no certainty of those numbers whatsoever. And we've moved from that position within the year to actually be able to say we have certainty in these numbers. So that's going to go a long way to potentially having a better final audited position and have integrity in those numbers. Now that's all been happening at the same time as the new finance system being put in. So I've got to reiterate the staff and the dedication and persistence that they have showed in the last year in particular to get us where we are today in those financial statements is a real accomplishment. So with that, I just want to finally say good luck to all of the high school students that are burying their head right now in exams. Good luck. Remember, it's only a number and life will go on, but you've done the hard work. Go get them, and good luck. Thank you, everyone.